It's time to call this meeting of the Murray City Council to order. We'd like to begin by pledging allegiance to the flag, and I've asked Richard Crangle to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Let's see, no scouts tonight. So we'll now move to item 1.2, approval of the minutes. If I could have a motion from the council.
I'll move approval for both sets of minutes.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We now move to a special recognition. Murray City Council Employee of the Month, Ryan Madsen from Information Technology. He's our lead technician. We'll have Brett Hales and Tim Tingy present.
Come on up, Ryan. I don't know what happens to that mic. We'll just do that. Do you know how? You've done this enough that you know. Don't touch it, huh? Thank you. He's good. Tim knows how to do everything. Well, we'd like to congratulate Ryan. Ryan is a great guy, and Ryan this is something he has sought for years to be. No, I'm just kidding. He is just a good guy. Ryan is I won't take your thunder, Tim, but Ryan for the council has been amazing. You know, IT is a great department, and I've worked in some places where IT sometimes isn't that excited to help you because they think you're dumb. We are dumb, but they think you're dumb. And Ryan really makes us feel good every time he comes in. Ryan is happy, and I know Jan absolutely loves Ryan and is grateful for all he does, and all of us as a council, he and the others in the department. But Ryan, you've been awesome. So we'd like to present to you, we're going to put your name back on this plaque and present you with this, a $50 gift card for you. Thank you. And then a certificate. And just as a council, we wanted to tell you how much we appreciate you and thank you for all your service. I know you've been here for about over 15 years. So from the council, we give a big round of applause. Thank you.
I'm fortunate to get to say a few words as well about Ryan. Ryan is an amazing employee. He's one of the best here in Murray. So grateful he's part of the Administrative and Development Services Department. Grateful for all the IT staff and all that they do. They have lots of customers internally here that have a lot of needs, and they work really hard. Let me just read a couple of things about Ryan that his supervisor, Rob White, said about him. He said he's always ready to lend a hand with anything you ask of him. He always does this with a smile on his face, from setting up chairs to reprogramming an interface on a system. It doesn't matter. He's there to lend a hand. And one of the things about Ryan recently, we've been replacing our software throughout the whole city. It's a massive project. And one of the lead person on this project, Dave Carpenter, has been in the hospital due to some major health issues. Ryan has stepped in, along with help with others, has just done an amazing job to keep us moving along and keep this project going. It's just an example of his great efforts, his great service. Another thing that Rob said is, he says, I can't think of another person that exemplifies the can-do attitude for our department more than Ryan Madsen. I'm grateful for his work ethic and positive attitude. And I would add that Ryan is exceptional. He's a leader in so many ways, and his diligence makes Murray a even better place than it is because of his efforts. So thanks for all that you do.
Thank you.
I just want to say I've really enjoyed working here with Murray City and all the people I get to work with. And I'd like to thank the council and Rob and Tim for this recognition. And my parents are here, and my coworkers, thank you for coming to support me. And thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Thanks for all you do. Congratulations.
Thanks, Ryan. You let me know that when I have things wrong that I didn't even know. And I really appreciate you are always able to fix them. Thanks so much for your help here. Wonderful.
We'll now move to the citizen comment portion of our meeting. I'd like to indicate that if you're here for the canal budget matter, you want to wait until we have the public hearing on that to share on that matter. So with that, we'll open the floor to citizen comments. If you'll limit your comments to 3 minutes and state your name and address for the record when you do speak into the microphone. There's a form that you can obtain from Jan that we'll need you to fill out for our record purposes.
I am so glad that I live up in the East Murray, the part that was annexed.
And your name?
Roger Haglund. I live at 1575 East Vine.
Thank you, Roger.
I'm so glad that Murray has annexed us, because when we were part of the county, it was hard to find out who was responsible for making decisions. Part of what we talked about at an open house was widening of Vine Street in front of my house. And I have one problem. The old part of Murray, all of the streets heading east-west, except for Winchester and 45th, are 30 miles an hour. All of the east-west streets in the part that was annexed are 35 miles an hour. Widening Vine Street is not going to make people slow down. Widening Vine Street is going to encourage, if people turn into the left turn lane, the center turn lane, there's no reason for anyone to slow down. As we changed into the Murray City, the plan to widen Vine Street is still left over from a 40-year-old plan that was generated by the county. When much of Vine Street was agricultural, it has now turned into a neighborhood. It's the same sort of neighborhood as you go down 5600 South or 53rd or Vine Street as it continues down past McRiley to here. It has turned into a residential neighborhood. As those decisions are being made, you all have the ability to help influence those. Unlike a county council that has an entire valley to worry about. And all you have to worry about is from 9th East to Van Winkle on Vine Street. Help us to create the similar neighborhood that you have in the rest of Old Murray. As that gets widened, people already are driving 45 and 50 miles an hour on a 35-mile-an-hour road. Please consider that as you now take us into your city. Consider us as part of Murray instead of this group that we are using county plans that no longer apply to the way that our neighborhood has become. I sincerely mean that. Thank you. You have given my wife and me a place where we can come and feel part of a political solution, even if sometimes the solution isn't exactly what we want. But we would petition you to help us make Vine Street as safe as it is below 9th East. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Roger. If you're going to give a comment, come to the podium.
My name is Beverly Kronkle, and I live on Vine Street. And I would like to ask if we can't put one of those solar, I don't know what you call them, but they tell you what mileage people are going as they're approaching the sign. We have one going east. If we could get one going west, that would help too. And just the reminders are really good. So that in and of itself would help people understand. And then posting the speed limit, and if we could change it, and maybe you could help us know what it would take to change it to the 30 miles that Roger was talking about. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the citizen comment period. Next item on the agenda will be public hearings. We only have one public hearing this evening. It's consideration of an ordinance amending the city's fiscal year 2017 to 2018 budget. Denise Steck presenting.
Seems like we just did this, but we have a few budget amendment items that we need to change in the budget. We're going to go over them really quickly. There is no appropriation of reserves needed in the general fund. We're going to be able to fund all of this within itself for the general fund. The ZAP grant amount came in. It was estimated in the original budget, and it came in at $6,000 less than that was anticipated. So we're bringing the revenue budget down by $6,000. There was a Salt Lake County homeless program that had been funded for many, many, many years, and the program last year was discontinued, and we were not notified. It was funded in last year's budget and this year's budget, but the check was returned to us, and we were asked not to contribute. So we're removing that from the budget. That's $16,361. We're asking for some overtime for the IT department and the GIS departments. Both of those overtimes I heard from Tim were asked for in the budget and somehow didn't make it in. So he's needing $4,600 for the IT department and $4,000 for the GIS department. We're asking to increase the expenditure budget in the miscellaneous section of non-departmental just to balance this out a little bit for $1,700. And then we're asking to accept and allocate a reimbursement given to us by the construction company that's working on the amphitheater. They're giving it back to the arts department for overtime that they had to expend as they had to move the play to another location at the beginning of the summer due to the accident in the amphitheater. So they are reimbursing them for overtime costs in the amount of $5,460, and we'll be increasing the overtime budget. It will take care of the expenses that were already expended in that same amount. We're also asking to accept and allocate the state asset forfeiture grant in the amount of $12,107 and have it be used to purchase equipment for the police department. So that's just getting money and then allocating it right back out. That's all the changes in the general fund that we're asking and requesting tonight. The second item is asking to appropriate $600,000 of reserves out of the Capital Projects Fund. The reserves will be used for the following purpose. We're asking to first accept and allocate the second year of a $100,000 grant from Salt Lake County for the Transportation Alternative Program grant. We were given a grant. It was a 2-year grant. They gave us $100,000 last year, and they are asking for us to receive the additional $100,000 this year. Those funds will be dedicated for the design and construction of the Canal Trail project. So that will be an overall $200,000, of which we've already received $100,000. We're asking to allocate that $100,000 that we received last year to the Canal Trail. So that's sitting in reserves currently. And then we're asking to allocate $500,000 from the general CIP fund, so Murray City funds for the design and construction of the Canal Project Trail. And that concludes the amount of amendments being requested this evening. Do you have any questions?
So we'll have let me go to the public for comment now. Do we have any comments from the public?
I'll start. My name is still Roger Haglund. I live at 1575 East Vine Street. Our house abuts the canal. The canal, it forms our west border and our north border. This sure seems like a lot of money for a trail that already exists. And what you need to do is just fix the fences so people can walk on it. There was a couple there last night, a dad and his daughter, riding their mountain bike on the trail as it exists now. And I'm not quite sure who is going to benefit from spending almost $1 million when all you really need to do is fix some fences and tell people that they can walk there. I'd love to have you buy me a new fence. I'd love to have Mexico pay Donald Trump for a new fence. But it doesn't make sense to be spending this much money when there already is a trail that people who want to are currently walking thereupon. And all you need to do is take down the fences that prohibit access. It doesn't need gravel. I don't really think you even need to make privacy issues out of it. The trail is already there. Just allow people to use it by fixing the access. Thanks so much.
My name is Richard Crangle. I live at 1628 East Vine Street in Murray and have for a number of years. I strongly urge a denial of funding for the proposed canal trail for the following good and sufficient reasons. I'll try to be very specific so I stay within the allotted time. There has been no cost-benefit analysis versus sidewalks that are urgently needed and have been for many decades. The cost-benefit analysis needs to be done for any project of any significance. This is a significant project proposed, and there's been no cost-benefit analysis. We have no idea, really now, how much this project is going to cost. Suddenly, I'd been attending meetings, and it went from a UDOT grant of $250,000 to a proposal for Murray to put up $909,000 and counting going forward for maintenance. There has been no environmental impact studies done for that proposed area. There are ducks and geese nesting along there, and there has not been any environmental impact done for the destruction of green space. That means less oxygen and more carbon dioxide. Every green piece counts in our world. We need absorption of carbon dioxide. We need oxygen from green space. There's no health or emergency of first responders provisions for vehicles to navigate the trail. If someone is injured, falls into the canal, drinks some of that contaminated water, there's no space for emergency vehicles to navigate to tend to those who are injured. There's significant ongoing maintenance that will fall to Murray, and Salt Lake County has not committed to doing anything. I have 30 seconds. There's no abatement for invasion of privacy, noise, possible vandalism, congestion from citizens in proximity of the trail. Canal easement was granted for irrigation water, not recreational ingress or egress. There's no showing of a compelling state interest or government interest to use or misuse citizens' tax money against the interest of many citizens. I strongly urge denial of funding for this misguided and unnecessary and redundant project in a community without adequate sidewalks. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Make sure you get a form from Jan. Do we have any others? Please come to the podium.
My name is Stephen Blackmore. I live at 1347 East Ashwood Circle. My backyard borders the canal. First off, if you're going to spend $1 million to put some rock down along the canal, I want a job. I'll go rent a dump truck and dump some rock along there. This is crazy. Okay, at the last meeting, there was supposedly a grant that was supposed to be taking care of all this. And now to be saying we need $900,000 to put down some rocks? You guys, this is wasteful spending, if anything. It's every time somebody's back there now, all the neighborhood dogs start barking because people are invading their area. They're disturbing the peace. Anybody back there is disturbing the sanctuary of our backyards and disturbing our peace. And I got, in less than an hour this evening, 22 signatures of neighbors that are against this trail, totally against it. There was talk of how do we get to, with Cottonwood Heights, to get annexed into them instead of how we fought so hard to get into Murray and be part of Murray instead of Cottonwood Heights. The people are upset. That you're really upsetting a lot of your people on the east side that are anywhere near this canal or have friends that are anywhere near it. So I hope you guys take it into consideration. This is a waste of money that could be used for a lot of other things. Thank you. Who wants the 22 signatures that I got? You do. Okay.
I added to them. I collected more signatures.
Okay, come to the podium, state your name and address.
My name is Bonnie Johnson, and I've lived in this area for 58 years. I find it so interesting that we are paving a trail. When I used to walk to school to Woodstock without sidewalks, I'm now pushing my grandkids in strollers without sidewalks. Why is that a priority over sidewalks? I'd like to ask the council by show of hands who have walked that trail. Have you walked it at night? I walked it at night. It's very intrusive. And I don't back up to the canal, and I'm glad I don't. I can't imagine the homeowners that live along that canal that have people looking into their homes. It's unnecessary. It was gated up. My question is to the council, why was it originally gated?
Sir, you're not speaking now.
Why
okay?
was it
The council's not gonna
originally
respond to your
gated?
questions.
On
You can ask the
6400
questions, but we're not
South.
going to respond.
I'm sorry, you're not going to respond?
No, not till later.
Okay. Well, I think it's a waste. Taxpayers' money could go to a better cause. Who would like these signatures? And many of these are along the banks of the canal.
I'm Mike Bennett and a resident of Murray, and I don't back up the canal either, but I've done studies before I was involved in a study that ended up dividing Jordan District into two districts, but a lot of work went into that. There were surveys done. I'm asking, have you done a survey of the people affected by this? I know you're not answering questions, but I know what needs to be done when you're spending any amount of money. I know that recently Murray City asked us they said they were short of money, they needed more money for us to maintain the storm drains. And the question is, how does something like this jump ahead of something that you're asking more money for? And you can come up with $900,000 that you supposedly didn't have to do other things. I think there are a lot of services that need to be addressed in Murray before you just add something. And I think the cost is fairly exorbitant. Like the gentleman said, you start off with a grant, and if a grant could pay for it, I can't imagine anyone would be against it. But when you're footing 5 times the grant to finish the project, I think at the very least it deserves a survey, customer satisfaction. I mean, every company on earth asks customers or people affected how they feel about it, and then they take that feedback. I don't know that holding one council meeting is enough to get the feedback necessary to do something this extensive. And it sounds like the feedback you have so far is not favorable. I think you just need to be more extensive in your research, and would hope that you do that, because I would imagine the next time I'm asked to have my taxes raised or to pay money because Murray is broke, I would think this would be an issue for me. If you could come up with this money and then ask for more taxes from me to maintain something else.
Thank you.
I'm Laurie Haglund, and I live at 1575 East Vine Street. My husband spoke earlier, and we do have probably the lion's share of frontage along the canal trail, and I think we've watched the scope of this project creep, and I think part of the reason that the scope has crept is because Murray has made an effort to mitigate the impact that it has for the homeowners along the canal trail, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate the voice that we feel like we've had and the agreements that we've come to with Murray, but I still think that it is a lot of money, and agree with what my husband said about there is a trail there already, and it doesn't need to be paved with compacted aggregate and the associated environmental impacts that come with that. And if it weren't right in my backyard, I think that I would be all in favor of trails. I think they're a great thing for the community, and I think that the people who don't live right along the trail have spoken loud, and we've been here and heard them speaking at meetings, and I kind of feel like this is a done deal, and we're all going through an exercise on a decision that you had made long before you ever invited us, and I just ask that we be really careful in the decisions that we're making and the way that it impacts people and disrupts lives.
Okay, thank you, Laurie. Apparently that, well, guess not.
Hi, I'm Chris Carter. I live on 1445 Lombardi Drive. I'll keep this short. I think we've already heard pretty much everybody's opinion on the canal. I don't support it whatsoever. I moved into the house that I'm in currently for the privacy. I've got 3 young girls. We love it there. I've been enjoying this summer, and the canal. It hasn't been too noisy. I mean, we have our normal residents walking through, but there's been a sense of peace. And I'm fearful of what this is going to change into. So I dread feeling like there's going to be a pavement back there or aggregate, and having strangers walk through there it's awful. So, and I feel like as well that decision's already been decided on. I came to the first meeting, I didn't speak, but I felt like there were some really good speeches that came up here, and afterwards the council went through and it was almost being read off a prepared statement already. A few of you had words to say and had already made your mind up, but I'm here tonight to say I'm against it. Thank you.
Make sure you get a form from Jan here, please. Thank you. Okay, do we have any other?
My name is Beverly Kronkle, and I still live at 1628 East Vine. I am a hiker. I enjoy hiking, and it's not in my backyard. I feel so badly for the people where the trail would be in their backyard. I want to emphasize the importance of the decision. If any of you are thinking of voting for this trail, please think of the decision to do that when you think of all those 22,000 plus commuters down on 1300 East when they're trying to get to work in the morning, and people are pushing that button to go across 1300 East. Every hiker, if they go the whole mile, 1.3 miles. They could stop traffic in 6 places, so 3 each way. So it crosses 1300 East, it crosses 6400, it crosses Vine Street. The 13th East alone, you have a stoplight at 6600 South, you have one at 6400 South. Now they would put a hawk signal crossing in the middle of 64 and 66. So you'd have 3 crossings or 3 stops for traffic, commuters going to work, coming home from work. 3 stops within 3 blocks. Then that doesn't even take into consideration down on 6100 South. You've got a school. You've got kindergartners coming and going at different times, 2 sessions, different than the regular, the 1st through the 6th graders. So you've got the school zone you've got to slow down for. And there's other schools in the area. The sidewalk is generally an integral part of any community. 6400 still doesn't have sidewalks all the way up and down. There are blocks right by Woodstock School that do not have sidewalks. And we're putting in this amenity for how many people? So in proportion of people who would benefit, you're literally talking about a handful compared to hundreds of school children. I see people coming and going from the bus stop up and down Vine Street. I see people walking their pets. I see people out walking. And now we have this road rage thing that's become, in the last few years, an element that we didn't even think about 10 years ago or 5 years ago. People are texting, they're talking on their phones. The night before the March meeting, one of the people that live right down on 13th East said there was a car that was totaled right in that same area the night before. And so you've got, people crossing. I think the tempers will be hopefully controlled, but it's a lot to ask of over 22,000 cars a day. And that was 2013
Okay, your
numbers.
time has elapsed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Please consider sidewalks first.
Hi, my name is Marlene Bennett, and I live on Lombardy Drive. The canal is across the street from us. I have a concern about parking for people who want to walk the trail. If I wanted to walk the trail from, let's say, or somebody wants to walk the trail from Fontainebleau, where do they park their car? Obviously, if you begin at Wheeler Farm, there's parking there, but there is no parking at the other end of your trail. And I see that being a tremendous problem, as that is an area with no sidewalks. So you have children walking along there, and you have extra traffic for people to be able to walk the trail. I don't know what feasibility studies have been done, but there certainly need to be some on the impact of extra cars and the parking situation, as well as obviously maintenance, lighting, and so forth, to keep the impact of trails and places where there are rapes and other problems, access to backyards from people that we wouldn't necessarily want in our neighborhoods. And so I oppose the trail.
If you'll pick up a form, please. Thank you. Okay, any other comments? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing process. I asked Denise to come back for any questions from the council. And if you have a response to any of the comments made earlier, we would accept that as well, Denise.
I have no more comments, but if the council has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
What's the actual budget?
The actual budget is $700,000, of which $500,000 is our Murray City funds and $200,000 are grant funds.
Okay, thank you. No other questions from the council? Okay, Doug, did you want to say anything? Okay, with that, we'll now close the public hearing. Time to move on to new business, swearing in the Murray City.
Wait.
Oh, yeah, that would help, wouldn't it? Okay, we need to take a vote. Jennifer, please.
Well, wait a minute.
need a
will-
motion.
For a motion.
Yeah, let's have a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution to consider an ordinance amending the city's fiscal year 2017-2018 budget.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion and seconded. Jennifer?
Aye.
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 You know, it's interesting listening to some of the comments. I know we weren't asked, but I'm going to speak now. That's okay, right?
Yes.
Sure.
It's hard because you hear, you know, this is my area, mine and Diane's area, and I've had a lot of emails and calls that want it, and I've had a lot of emails and calls that don't, and majority of the people that don't want it are on the canal, and I believe in trails, I believe in all that, and I voted no before, so I'm going to say no to this, like I did last time.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. We'll now move on to new business, swearing in the Murray City Interim Mayor, who will serve until January 2nd, 2018. Jennifer Kennedy and Frank Nakamura presenting.
Yes, in the previous meeting, the council, as it's required to do, did vote and from among the applicants and appoint Douglas Blair Camp as the interim mayor to serve until January 2nd, 2018, at which time a newly elected mayor will be sworn in. So at this time, we're going to ask Jennifer Kennedy to swear in Mr. Camp as the interim mayor of Murray City.
I, Douglas Blair Camp, do solemnly swear to support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Utah, and to perform the duties of my office as the interim mayor of Murray City with fidelity.
Would you like to make any comments, Blair?
Yes, I'll do that from here if that's okay.
You bet.
First of all, I want to just say that I'm saddened by the circumstances that leads us to where we are here today. We all miss Mayor Iyer very much, and I'm so heartened to see his family here tonight. So thank you, Ruth and Amanda and Ed, and for being here. Secondly, I want to say thank you to the council for your confidence in selecting me to finish the term of Mayor Iyer. I want you to know that I'm not going to be a placeholder here for the next 3.5 months. We have much work to do, and I intend to move the work forward, particularly the work that Mayor Iyer had been pushing forward, and I know that's what he would like. And that's what I intend to do. So thank you for your vote of confidence. Thank you for your support. Shouldn't have looked at you. I also want to thank Paula, my wife, for her support. She's here tonight, and she's been behind me 100%, and so thank you, and Christina, thank you for all your help as well. She's working on my campaign team, but whether or not I'll be continuing on in January doesn't really matter right now. What matters is that we have work to do, and I intend to work with you to get it done. So thank you again.
Thank you, Blair. Now move to the portion. Diane, do you have anything you want to report as former mayor?
I don't.
Okay. How about you, Blair? Do you have anything to report as our new interim mayor?
I did want to mention, I forgot to mention, and I wanted to, with the passing Sunday of former Mayor Lynn Pett, leaves another hole in our city of individuals who have really contributed to our city, and just wanted to pay tribute to Lynn. Appreciate the work that he has done for this city. It's over the years, and what a great legacy. So we've lost two fine mayors here recently, but I just wanted to acknowledge that. I'll be at work tomorrow morning, so I'll have more to report to you next meeting.
Also, there was a ceremony that you went to Saturday, Miss Murray.
Oh, thank you for reminding me. Yes, I did. I was able to attend the Miss Murray pageant on Saturday, and had the opportunity to thank our outgoing Miss Murray, Lise Horton. What a great job she has done in representing Murray this past year. Many of you have seen her at many of the events that we've been to, ribbon cuttings. She had an event at the park where she took back prescription drugs that were no longer used, and she's been at many events. Great young lady, so I had a chance to thank her. And also the new Miss Murray was selected, Jessica Christensen. I'm sure we'll be hearing from her very soon. So it was a really great night, and they also paid great tribute to Mayor Iyer too there at the pageant. So it was really a touching to be there for that too.
Great, thanks.
Dave?
Thank you.
I got one thing I want to say. I told Craig I was going to embarrass him. We had an unfortunate occurrence in my neighborhood, my district, my neighborhood. One of our neighbors has gone missing, Nick Kapos. He went for a walk Thursday night and disappeared, and they are still looking for him. The police were notified, and they literally blanketed that area. They checked neighbors. They went door to door. They looked in buildings. They looked under bushes. They have been all through the area. I wanted to commend the police department and the fire department. I know we put swiftwater teams into the waters, I believe today, to go look. It's unfortunate because of the poor weather. The man does suffer from dementia. It's on Facebook. It's been on the news. Be aware. Look around. It would be nice to have the family find out what ultimately happened. But I wanted to thank the police department. I was impressed. I mean, that's the beauty of this town, is they were out in force and they were really looking. We got 2 reverse 911 calls with messages on this. So thank you, both of you.
Thank you, Chief. Really appreciate the job you do, Chief, for that. Any other comments from the council?
Congratulations.
Okay, we'll stand adjourned. Thank you.